instead of hurting by -100, they are now hurting at the speed of -50. It will be a little challenging, it will be a little tough, but instances of breast cancers are lower. So you are not just making your baby healthy, you are also chances of your postpartum depression going down.
So Priyanka, what lifestyle changes can help prevent baby blues or postpartum depression and support new mom in feeling balanced?
Correct. So here, I'll talk about, so what are these lifestyle changes and how are they helping us? So first, let's see, it is not like if you do any of these things, let's say you do just one thing, we will talk about 4 things right now, but you do, let's say, just one thing. It's not like once you start doing that one thing, the depression or the baby blues will completely go away. See, think of it like your expenses are coming. Let's say you have zero account balance and your expenses are coming. And now the expense comes for 100 rupees. So you are negative, so -100. That's what your right status is. But correct. Let's say I do one positive change. I will get +20 balance in my bank account. So when the 100 rupee expense comes, I am at -80. Right? If I do 2 things, and let's say the second thing is adding another 30, when the 100 rupee expense comes, I am at -50. So whatever we will talk about is all those things will keep on adding, but do not think of them as completely taking away the 100, but they are reducing the intensity. With every right lifestyle change that you do, your intensity for the hit will be that much lesser. So it's not like, you can think of it ki, if I do this one thing, guaranteed postpartum depression is gone, or guaranteed your baby blues will stop from the moment you take this action. But they will hurt you less. So instead of hurting by -100, they are now hurting at the speed of -50. So that is what you have to understand and take that perspective as a whole overall. So the lifestyle changes that we will talk about will fall under 4 categories, and maybe a bonus category that at the end. So these 4 categories. The first one is women who can initiate breastfeeding at the earliest. Research says they are found to have much lesser instances of postpartum depression. So sometimes what happens is, because neither the baby is used to breastfeeding nor the woman is used to breastfeeding, so initial time is a little tricky, especially the first 10-15 days. So, and many times what happens is, because it is so tricky, people will say, okay, let's put him on formula. And not like then, the breastfeeding goes for a toss. And the thing about breastfeeding is, if you are not feeding, then the milk supply will go down. So because, the nature would think, okay, maybe now the baby is no more there. So milk supply will start going down. So it is the first 1 week, the woman needs a lot of support and maybe a good amount of guidance from the doctor or whosoever, senior members in the family to initiate the breastfeeding. It will be a little challenging, it will be a little tough, but people who are able to initiate that, because their milk supply will then continue for months or years, depending upon how long they feed the baby, their chances of coming into depression or high intensity baby blues are much, much lower. So that's number 1. And there, the longer you feed the baby, the happier. One, it is very good for the baby, but it is also very, very good for you. It is extremely good for your body, for your own hormones, and for your own long-term health, for your own long-term reproductive health. Chances of people getting any type of reproductive issues in people who have breastfed for a long time, the chance of instances of breast cancers are lower. So you are not just making your baby healthy, you are also making your chances of future diseases much, much lesser. So that's the beauty of the first lifestyle. And it's not really a lifestyle thing, it is something that nature has designed. So that's number 1. The second one is sleep, which is, in the initial times, sleep is highly disturbed, but effort should be made to sleep as soon as the baby sleeps or rest as soon as the baby rests. Now, if you have some tools of resting, even when you are not getting high amount of sleep, that's the beauty that we will discuss here. So there are certain types of music that you can listen to, certain type of meditations that you can do. A lot of them are available on UVAP Music for the Soul. Now that music will not just calm the baby, but will also calm you. Because you will say, ki, okay, now the baby sleeps at 2 p.m. Sometimes the baby sleeps at 5 p.m. I'm not sleepy at that. Completely understandable. But then if you are playing that music and listening to that music at that time, your body is as if it is in a sleep zone. So don't count your sleep hours, that if you are used to sleeping for 8 hours, you might not get 8 hours for like some months. So that is not going to happen. But what will happen? Those hours when I just listen to music, they also count as mini versions of sleep. So incorporate music in your baby's life. And it is also said that babies, especially this initial period, if they listen to music, especially Indian classical music, their brain development is very solid. So not only, so see, all these things, the breastfeeding aspect, the music aspect, these are helping both the mother and the child. It's not just for the mother. So because in nature, things happen together. You don't have to, it's not at the exclusion of one. कि इसका ध्यान कम रखेंगे तो ये बढ़ेगा. No, they happen together. So baby will get, so if you want like intelligent babies, give them access to music early on in life. This will calm them. They will become less colicky. See, initially babies have digestive issues, which is called colic. So they will become less colicky. They will have a better chance of, good mental, development, and you will also feel calmer. So that's the sleep part. Then the third part is diet. Now this is a big one. Now third is like, that's where we should really focus. And here I'm, when we talk about diet, let's look at it in two primary sections. The macros and the micros. So what about the macros? What are the three type of, the big macros that we have, which is carbs, proteins, and fats. And I actually call 4 macros fiber because of the high importance that it holds, right? So when we speak about, so let's talk about them one by one. The first one is fats, very important at this time. So do not start worrying about, I have to lose weight, initial 6 months, just chill. And, just relax, get the baby in order, get the house in order, because, everything, it's a big change. So first one is fat. Fat, like, good sources of fat. The higher amount of omega-3s that you have in your diet, walnut, flaxseed, chia seeds, and good A2 cow desi ghee. All these things contribute to not just your recovery becoming faster, your milk production becoming better, but also like, your the chances of your postpartum depression going down. Because omega-3 is extremely effective for brain health. And where does depression start from? From the brain. Where does, baby blues, your anxiety starts from the brain. So if you are giving the food, which is very good for the brain, means that this will really help. So omega-3s. Then let's come to proteins. The second category in the macros. Proteins may, you need a lot of good quality, healthy proteins. Now, what are the healthy type of proteins? And again, like, make sure, some people will say that these proteins will, they will cause gas and they will cause like, various type of things. But if you take them properly cooked, if you take them in the proper form, like, sprouted form, and along with a lot of good fats, this would mean that your chance of, any kind of bloating that happens also reduces. Plus, there are a lot of Indian herbs that you can put in them. So ajwain you can put. In fact, like, when the newborn baby happens, if you take ajwain water, this helps a lot with the digestion part. So good proteins like your beans, your almonds, your peanuts, your seeds, different type of seeds. And if you can digest at that time, tofu. See, again here, the aspect of personalization will come a lot. You have to continuously be listening to your body, because each baby is different, each body is different, and what causes bloating in one person does not necessarily causing bloating in other people. And especially even if your body is causing bloating for one type of dal, when you sprout it and when you take it with good amount of ghee on top, sometimes it doesn't. When you take it with a lot of fiber, it doesn't. So you have to see those aspects, especially for your personal body type. What happens? But good protein, easily digestible protein. Let's say कि मैं ये दाल नहीं पचा पा रही हूँ, maybe मैं almonds और उसका जो मेरा dry fruit smoothie है, that I am able to digest quite well. Soaked almonds, soaked walnuts, soaked seeds, and then I just make a smoothie out of it. I have no problem at all with that. So you will have to see which are the good sources of proteins that you can easily absorb and easily digest, not feeling bloated at that point. So that was macro mein category number 2. So first was our fat, second is protein. So good fat, good protein. The third one is carbs. You will, especially if you are breastfeeding, you will feel super hungry. मतलब you will just be so hungry, you will think like, मैं इतना खाना मैंने कभी जिंदगी में खाया, how am I eating so much? Like I remember when Yuman was born, I would be eating so many those गोंद के लड्डू, like I'm like, दिन में 5 खा जाओगे आप, but it is extremely normal, right? Because what happens is when you are breastfeeding, your body is actually, see, a baby would be drinking about 2 liters of milk on a daily basis. Like let's say अभी थोड़ा सा बिल्कुल छोटा नहीं, but 1-2 महीने के बाद, like 2 liters of milk, it takes a lot of energy for the body to produce that. And no matter how much you eat, body will still take it from your own reserves. And that is why in pregnancy, if you see, women tend to put a lot of weight around their abdomen, in their thighs, at their hips. Why? Because even after the baby comes out, this is the reserve for the breastfeeding. So people who breastfeed, so then these deposits of fat, they start dissolving and becoming milk. That's why the milk is very, it is full of fat at that point in time. Like, once we did an experiment also. So the pumped milk we saw, it was like quite creamy. So these are the cream that comes from your thighs and from your hips. So all those people who who want to lose weight post-pregnancy, I don't think there is anything better than breastfeeding. Because the body reserves it for this thing. Because kitna bhi khao, you will be hungry. And that is why you need good sources of food at that point. You don't want plain sugars, processed food, because one, they are like zero nutrient value, but hardly any value. And then neither will they help you in your milk production or anything like that. So you need complex carbs, good carbs. Then of course fiber. Because what did we discuss in the first part? Serotonin comes from the gut. 95% of serotonin comes from the gut. So if your gut friends are not happy, you will not be happy. As simple as that. Because they make you happy. So, and what do they eat? They eat fiber. Fiber means rainbow diet. Rainbow diet means all the different colors, different fruits, different vegetables. Change करके आप ले रहे हैं अलग-अलग colors के, and that's why we call them rainbow. Now these, which is good fat, good protein, and good sources of your carbs, including fiber. Okay. What about micros? So micros may, you need like vitamins like vitamin D. So make sure you are getting your sunshine. You need your vitamin B complex, B12, because B12 again is related to a lot of nervous issues, and depression is from the nervous system. So B12 का आपको देखना होगा कि if you need any, with your doctor's consult, like अगर supplementation या natural sources like curd and all you can take, and folic acid. So ये जो है, and iron. So these things you will have to make sure your diet is rich in all these things like iron, folic acid, B12, vitamin B, and then these vitamin D तो sunlight or good sources of dairy वहाँ पे आप ले सकते हैं. So this is, and the better your diet is, and especially अगर pregnancy में भी मैंने diet अच्छी रखी थी, my chances of postpartum depression would be lower. Because depression कैसे होता है? You have to see, stress eats the nutrients as well. See, हम लोग बोलते हैं मेरी body में nutrient profile, like I'm eating a very nutrient rich diet. Now, where do those nutrients get consumed? They get consumed when I am working, they get consumed when I am thinking, and all those things. Stress consumes a lot of these minerals. It consumes a lot of these vitamins. So the better is my starting position, उतना अच्छा मैं stress के अंदर perform कर पाऊंगी. See, this is the time when the body gets really stressed. Now, if जैसे कि अगर मेरा glass का बना हुआ है, you know, if my container is made up of glass, मैं उसको stress दूंगी, जैसे ही एक हथौड़ा मारूंगी, वो टूट जाएगा. But if my container is made up of relatively better, मतलब like more solid material like steel, वो हथौड़ा मारने पे नहीं टूटेगा. And postpartum is a time when the body does go through a lot of stress. So जितना मैंने पहले भी काम किया होगा प्रेगनेंसी में, while trying to get pregnant and all those things, by eating the right things, the lower are my chances of getting into more and advanced versions of baby blues or advanced versions of postpartum depression. So that's what we need to do. We need to have a diet which is balanced macros, and you know, and once you are balancing your macros and fiber वगैरह आप ले रहे हो, तो even जो ये हमारे माइक्रो हैं, like you know your B complex, your vitamin C, वो अपने आप में बैलेंस हो जाते हैं. तो that is why we, you know, this importance of balanced diet is there, and especially during pregnancy. आप अगर उसमें you know they say antioxidants वगैरह काफी खाने चाहिए. If possible, once your doctor allows it, आप अगर ग्राउंडिंग करोगे, अर्थ इज द बिगेस्ट एंटीऑक्सीडेंट. सो नंगे पांव अगर आप घास पे उस टाइम घूमते हो, आफ्टर लाइक यू नो इनिशियल 15-20 डेज, शुरू में तो थोड़ा बेड रेस्ट वगैरह भी हो सकता है लोगों को, बट डिपेंडिंग अपॉन जब डॉक्टर ने ओके किया है, उसके बाद वंस यू गो आउट फॉर वॉकिंग, थोड़ा बेयर फीट ग्राउंडिंग करना. Right? And the second thing is like, you know, the bonus tip which I wanted to give is, whatever is your mother-in-law, your mother or your seniors feeding you at that point, like, you know, गोंद के लड्डू, अजवाइन का पानी, मेथी for increasing milk production, nuts and seeds के लड्डू अलग अलग बन के आएंगे आपके लिए. Then आपका, you know, घी, right? A2 का देसी घी भी काफी आपका डाइट में डाला जाएगा. Make sure to enjoy it. बाद में कोई इतना नहीं पूछने वाला. तो इसके लिए वो एंजॉय करो वो टाइम, ओके. एंड डू नॉट लाइक उसमें ये मत करो कि हम मोटे हो जाएंगे, कुछ नहीं होगा. मतलब वो 6 months के बाद वंस योर डॉक्टर अलाउज, देयर आर इनफ नंबर ऑफ थिंग्स, सब लोग हो जाते हैं पतले, थोड़ा टाइम देना पड़ता है. एंड दोज 4-5 months में एकदम स्ट्रेस डाल के बॉडी हैज ऑलरेडी गॉन थ्रू अ लॉट, यू डोंट वांट टू अननेसेसरी स्ट्रेस इट. इफ यू आर लेस स्ट्रेस्ड एंड यू आर यू नो लिसनिंग टू म्यूजिक, आप अपना ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग कर रहे हैं, ब्रेस्ट फीडिंग से जितना वेट लॉस होगा कोई एक्सरसाइज उतना नहीं कर सकती.
Correct.
So these are the, like, you know, the 4 or 5 things that are the lifestyle factors for postpartum, and this, if you are doing, your chance of getting into a postpartum depression are significantly reduced.
Right. So basically, we need to understand, once we go for these lifestyle changes, this will not only help the mother, but it is good for child also. And some of the steps which were given by Priyanka were, first, that we have to, mother has to initiate breastfeeding as soon as possible and keep it doing for a longer term. Second one is, you should have a good sleep, and since at that time sleep do get affected, which I have also heard from many of my friends, so we can use music which is available at UVAP Music, Indian classical music, which is good for child also. Third thing is that we have to go for good diet. In diet we have macro, wherein we have to take good carbs, good protein and good fats. In micro we have to go for vitamin D, vitamin B, B12, B complex, so various, and iron and folic acid. And the fourth one was grounding, wherein we have to walk bare feet on grass, which you can do, and along with that you will also cover your micro requirement of vitamin D. And last one is that whatever comes your way from your mother-in-law, seniors, कौन के लड्डू आते हैं, या जैसे मेरी मम्मा बनाती है, वो प्रोटीन बार्स बनाती है घर पे, तो enjoy that thing and उसको enjoy करो, and then we can go ahead with that.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.